And welcome back to another session with Paintology, the drawing app that you can get for Android users and from the Google Store. So, if you're familiar with the app, you will already know that it has a number of functions and features to help you get better in drawing overall. So, the very important thing is you want to when you do digital drawing, keep in mind that you need to improve your drawing skills. And these are not items that you can measure against someone else because, especially if you're a beginner, because you're always picking out digital tools to help you with your drawing. But a proficient artist will have got a number of skills, the creative part, which is the inherent skills. Like a comparison would be pencil and paper, for example, and you'll see someone who's good with the pencil and paper able to make exceptional drawings compared to someone who just started. That's because with even these simple tools, they know the deep properties of it and turn it to their advantage. So this is where Paintology comes in. Not many people know that. They go to the drawing tool, especially if you're a beginner. And if you're a beginner and you go to a drawing application, you should keep your mind open to the possibilities. Don't judge something by the tools and by the interest of many other people. Remember, companies push apps on the basis of the capital investment they've received, and also from, of course, the user base. But this creative world comes up with so many other ways of doing drawing that you may not be aware of. So keep that in mind when you draw with Paintology. Don't rule it out without even checking it out. You may have seen a lot of good drawings, but if you're serious about learning, if you just want to doodle, then go ahead, use a lot of tools. But if you're serious about learning, then you have come to the right place. So let's open up Paintology, the icon there I have open. This is the home screen. And today we're going to talk about block coloring. It's a unique method of digital drawing, and it does not require any drawing skills whatsoever. But the benefits of doing block coloring is that number one, you appreciate tones and values in drawings, and you probably heard of tones and values in drawings, and a lot of teachers talk about that, and you're wondering what that is. And number two, it improves your drawing strokes tremendously. It trains you in motor skills required for creating smooth strokes. I know if you don't have that, you go head straight to the correction tool, but don't do that. The correction tools are designed to bypass these learning art skills that have been fundamental to traditional materials with pencil and paper. Okay, so here, so block coloring is, I'm going to show you step by step because I don't think many people fully appreciate it. But the process is really simple. If you understand paint by numbers, you will understand what block coloring is. Just to show you paint by numbers, let's go to head to tutorials. Let's pick paint by numbers category, and let's pick the first one here. And you'll see this is paint by numbers. Can you see it? So 6, for example. Yeah, you'd keep doing that. 4, you'd keep coloring that, and you'd keep doing that again and again. So what are you doing basically? You can see what you're doing is you're adding colors, adjacent colors, with different variations. Look, you could assume these are different variations of brown, and you're adding that really to close zoom, 650%. And then you continue to build that, and it creates the image that you're familiar with of the cat, yeah? So that's the block coloring that you'll find in Paintology, which is great because you're familiar with this. But now I'm going to show you something more fun, in my opinion, and more akin to your own coloring ability. And that's block coloring, which I haven't actually introduced it as a category you can go to. You know, you have pencil drawings as well as, so you can go through many pencil drawings. This was actually a finger painting that I did, the second one, the sunset. So we're going to use our fingers for our block coloring. So one I'm going to use to demonstrate block coloring is something I've already loaded there. If you want to know one I did, the reason I want to do that is I actually did this in block coloring. You can see why is it blocks, because they look small segments of blocks. But if you look the overall image, you can't see those small segments of blocks. Yeah, this is Marilyn Monroe, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, the famous movie 1953 with Jane Russell. It just came on the TV and I thought, okay, this is where I get my inspiration from. Okay, this is the one we're going to draw, and I'm going to show you step by step what the block coloring method is. And keep in mind, it's also a fun way of drawing, but in addition, it's going to train you in digital drawing. Too many people turn to tools to fill the void that they have had when they were young, when they couldn't draw like the other artists, few handful of artists that they were wowed by. And you will do the same. If you head for the tools, unfortunately, you will do the same. You'll be limited by the tools if you do get better. And also, I have a different perception of what digital drawing is to most people. I don't look at digital drawing any different to traditional drawing, and all my drawings are done with one or two brushes. But more of that you can find in my resources that I have, one posts in Quora and also the website. So we'll start off with the broad block coloring. When I say broad block coloring, I want you to look at this drawing with this image actually and ask yourself, where are the broad colors? And this is your understanding of tones and values will be enhanced. Yeah. Well, I can see a color here. Okay. And then I can see another red color here. And I can see a different tone here. And I can see a tone here. And I can see this bit here and this bit there. So we can do a block coloring in these regions as the beginning point. Okay. And then we can probably leave that separate. But we can color these areas. So we're going to set the trace bar. The trace bar is a halfway point, but just slightly above the middle notch. And that means I can pick colors using the color picker, as you can see. This was the yesterday's drawing. You can see of Marilyn Monroe's colors. Okay, so this one, and then pick that. Okay, and look at the color on that. It's changed. It's gone dark black. Let me pick another one of the red, and look, it's changed to red. Okay, and then these are the tones, and then if I pick the third one here, it's changed to gray, this area. Okay, so that means I can carry this color to my drawing canvas. So as you can see, the brush size is quite small, and I'll keep the line brush and take it to 30 and see what happens. Yeah, 30 should be sufficient. Okay, so I'm going to pick that dark color and I'm going to try and follow the shape if I can. And then I'll do my first area of block coloring. Okay, don't worry how I get to it. Of accuracy, I'm not at all worried about the accuracy. You do the same exactly as what I'm doing. And then there's the red. You can see the red color, and then I'm going to do that area that I see is red from the midpoint. Okay, and then I zoom out, and then I see another color here, the gray color, and I'm going to just go over it, follow roughly the image. You see, when I say improving the strokes, it is improving your strokes, isn't it? You thought you couldn't draw before, but this is an easy way of improving the stroke. Again, this region of the body, follow the contours, right? And just fill it in. That's it. Remember I said I was going to leave out this bit, so I'm leaving them out. I'm using my fingers. Fingers, you don't have to use stylus. Fingers, you can do a lot. Okay, and then I'm saying there's a red bit. Pick the red bit and then just simply go over it. And now we've done the main regions of the block coloring. Okay, and now we can go and say, okay, that's one of the first broad steps of the block coloring. Let's, now that we have this first pass of the drawing, and this is very important, which many beginners are not going to realize. And if you're really, to be honest with you, if you're really interested in drawing, you really need to keep your mind free from all the people, especially beginners, who give you advice. That's just not going to work. And most of the people who are good, I probably don't have time to give you advice in the first place. But I'm here to give you that advice through the app because I believe, the app is going to take you on a drawing journey that you've never thought was possible. So now let's go back, and then what's your next step? Now, you remember I was telling you these are the most important. Each time you make a drawing, a pass, do not think for 1 second you're done. Am I done with this? No. If you left me to my devices, I guarantee I will make a drawing similar to this. And why do I do that? Because I am building up the process of drawing through block coloring. In a way, even if I don't use block coloring, in freehand, I would be drawing in that same manner. And this is where I'm going to show you where the power of the digital device is compared to pencil and paper, right? So now you can see from there, you have now a guideline to the next step. And right away you can say, well, I don't, these white, I should fill it in, yeah? Okay, so let's fill it in. So let's reduce it because the blocks are too big. Here, you see, I'm just doing it enough so it can fill this area. So I'm going to pick this color that's on there and then just fill it in and still follow the contour that was of the original drawing. Okay, and then I could pick another tone, because remember, this is where your appreciation of tone will increase, because by what you select determines the other tone. This black you see here is, I can tell you right away, is different to the black here. And you think, what? Are you crazy? Trust me, just understand that point. You've seen dark tones, the variation of dark tones is so difficult for the eye to visualize. And then when you put a little slight white tone, it looks more white than what it is. you've seen lots of people go on about it on YouTube, the illusion type effect. So that's why I'm going to use the color picker to pick that tone and then just carry on while I'm there. Why not? Right? And then I'm still following the talk. Then pick that tone again and then just see how big it is. Okay. So I'm going to go for a smaller brush and then go around these because the brush size is too big. But I can still do the eyes. Okay. The ones that I can touch on. And then I will pick a tone here. It's very big, yeah, the brush size. And notice right away, I don't have to tell you, the red tone here, darker, lighter tone here, light. So that's where your block coloring comes in and you can able to make a good drawing. But we're going little by little on the areas we have not covered. So again, here, coloring. I'm just using the brush, big brush size that I already have. All right. Okay. So then we have this bit, which we haven't done. So what we can do is we can say, well, these area, this white bit of his shoulders that's not done, we don't have to use one single tone. We can already see the representation of different tones. The red light tone, the dark tone here. So let's use the color picker, fill that tone. Let's use the color picker to fill this one that's close to it. Then fill this tone. Yeah, I'm just using black. Yeah, and then this another tone that I see here. Okay, and then we keep going because we're still at the large brush size. And then I can see tones, different tones here, and then different tones here to fill that up. Then I can see this tone here, use that same tone, go across that. Okay, now let's see where we are. So we've laid down block coloring with different tones. Now let's complete the tones that are still not covered here. And then we haven't done this bit here, the gray tones, so let's pick that. Oops, is that the gray tone? Yes. See, you thought it was dark, but look at it, yeah? You see how the two dark tones look so similar? It can be confusing, right? So this is where you could say you've improved on the previous first pass. You could say this is the second pass. Okay, so now we continue to leave our position in the middle, and then let's take it down a little bit more. 9%. Okay, and now we can tackle the smaller parts here. Now what do you see here? Well, right away I can see there's the Spider-Man's black, but let's see what this size is. In fact, oops, let's see what the size of this color is. Okay, look, that's still very big, 10%. So I'm thinking that we're going to take it down to about 6%. Yeah, all right. So let's pick that color that we haven't done. Just don't worry about if it's exact match. We're just picking the color tones. Notice I picked the color tone again because it's not black, that part. You see, this is where your appreciation of tone will increase by many factors. So let's zoom out. let's do this bit here. Okay, and that there. Remember, we're picking out the tones of the image, of the reference image. Again, this area we haven't touched on here. I'm using my fingers. And then this. Remember, I'm using the reference image as a guide for me to fill this. So we haven't filled this in here. So let's pick a tone here, gray tone here. Just keep, let's just fill it in. We just want to try and cover the whole picture in one go. Okay, and then under his chin, you can see here. Right, then here. So I'm just continuing to use the color picker, knowing that the tones do change, and I'm not going to upset the real tones. So again, we're here, right? This is, you could consider it to be the third pass. Okay, and now you can see where we're going with this. The smaller brush you have, and continuing this process of block coloring, you'll be able to make a pretty good drawing of Spider-Man. Now let's look at the original. Why do we have these shades? You want to create that blending? I'll show you how it's done. This is where the fun begins as well, after you've done this. So this is your drawing, and then you can switch between the drawing and keep comparing it, right? And now you decide which ones you want to tackle. And when I look at it, I would like to do the face, clear the face up. Yeah. So this is what we're going to do. We take it to the midway position, right? And now we know the brush size is quite big. Let's try and match the brush size to his spider marks there, yeah? Like that, okay? And then let's use that to continue filling in the details. Okay. So again, color picker, the area that I'm going to do block coloring. You rotate. That's the beauty of the phone, is that you can rotate. Color picker, and the area I'm going to, and then always the color picker, and then I'm picking the tones around that area. Okay, we'll just do this eye with this smaller brush, because I want to show you what that can look like. And I still think that size is too, this bit here as well, yeah? Then here, just carry that, yeah? Let's see what that looks like. See, big improvement of that eye. It's getting better and better, isn't it? And these edges that you can see, it tells us the next step of, we want to refine this edge. It doesn't look very good. So, very easy. We can go closer to that region, and then we can say, well, there's a brown here, and then just keep going, selecting the color picker. Remember, if you're selecting a color here, you're at the halfway point, and that's why I can, if I use the color picker, I'm not picking up the color of my drawing canvas, but the color beneath it. Okay, so here we can do some correction. Right away you can see more corrections are needed. and you can go and zoom into most of the image and see what's going on. Yeah, so here, then here. So I'm way above the halfway point. So what are the colors I'm picking up? The colors around the from that underlying image. So you might want to, let's do this. Let's work on this and see what we need to do to replicate it. Well, I think the first thing is don't do this white bit and then wrap around. That doesn't make sense, does it? It makes so much sense to pick that color and just fill it in. We didn't fill it in before because I want to show you that we'll work on this region. Fill it in, and then we're going to use a tinier brush to do this, do this white color. So we remember, we let's watch the color, the gray color. You see, it's going way down, and then we pick. That's way too big, as you can see. So we need to go really down there. That's about the right size. So let's do that, 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 and then see what it looks like. Okay, I think I think that would work. Yeah, and let's just complete. This is where your drawing strokes come in. You may be fumbling while you're doing this, but since I've done this a few times, you need to really improve on this. And if you're looking for a tool, it means you're still not comfortable with your drawing stuff, and you need to keep developing it. Okay, what took me less than a few seconds, yeah. Look, there you are. So now, since we're near there, let's get really crazy and use this thin brush to put the details in there. I drew that line and then the gray, right? Okay, there's that gray there. There's that black there. Remember, you need to start where your color picker lands is the color, and you'll get it through practice. If you don't practice, you're not really going to get it. So I can see here that let's put that red. Let's see how the tones change. This level. See what you're looking at. You're going to understand what you're looking at. So try and zoom out. There is that dark tone. This is where you get the image of shadows being formed. Let's see where we're there. That's getting better, isn't it? You may not see it, but I can tell you that is getting better, and I'm not too worried about any of the details yet because I know I will improve on it. You can see this bit where it's hard to replicate, but the tones, that's what the tones are. And we're not, unless we do blending, we're not going to blend this area, okay? But I'm not worried about that yet. I'm just laying down the colors, the basic colors initially. Okay, so now what we can do is I can see now that we've come to this stage, we can carry on and on. This is the beauty of the drawing, is that you never judge a book by its cover, isn't it? That's because the point is that there's so much that's underneath it that has got to the main title or the reason for the big title of the book. And that's what adds, like, just like food, it's the ingredients, the cooking process and everything that makes up the final meal. So you should not, if I were you, it's very easy to judge things in life too quickly because you're very visual. We're extremely visual oriented people right now because we have the smartphone, we have data accessibility widespread. We're very visual, and sometimes we use our visual and small gratification, short-term gratification to make decisions. And I would recommend that you think, really think. You cannot sweep something in one, two lines. You know, the people who have worked hard to build the these technologies, there's such a depth of understanding. You'll have no idea what goes on behind the silicon chip. But I've worked on it actually when I was younger on technology, so I can appreciate it more so than other people. Yeah. So here I'm going to stick to this line. I mean, I could change it. I need a bigger size, and then just shape this area that we want to work on. So I'm halfway up, so I know I'm going to pick the right tones. I'm not too worried about what's adjacent to it. I'm just correcting this area that is sitting like a sore thumb on my drawing. And then just using that brush to replicate these details. Remember, I used the broader strokes, broad brush size, and now I'm going in to the areas and fleshing out the details. So this color picker works like this. If you pick the color picker and see that crosshair, it's not going to pick that color. So ignore that. It's going to pick the color of the reference image that where your finger lands on, like here. Okay, there. Now I'm going to show you something else. If I'm picking the color picker here, and you will see there red and dark tones there. If I land my finger here, can you see here? It has picked black. Now let me select the color picker again. If you select here, it will be the dark red. You see? Here it will be black. Here will be lighter red. Yeah. And here red. And then here, and then this area, look. So the color picker takes the color of, as long as you have it at the top half. Now, if we go to our drawing canvas, which is the lower half, you'll see what the color picker does. It picks the color picker of your drawing. There, red, black, this color, this color. See, it picks your color, not the color, not the reference image. That's the whole idea of block coloring, is that you continue to build up your own picture with your colors, right? So I can use this step dab action here, and then I can see here I got two sections here that I want to. So very quickly, that's the whole idea of the, you don't have to worry about the tools. You're now worried about, you're now just focused on drawing. This is how rapidly you can draw. So I'm just developing more of the underlying reference image on my canvas. All right, and then we'll now take a look. See, that's already, this area is already improving by the smaller brush. Okay, and then now we can go towards the chin. Don't forget to save, okay? So you can see you can do a lot of drawings based on the many drawings that you see that are found online that interests you. Your interest may be different to mine because I love landscape painting. All right, I'm just following. I'm not going out too much. I'm just following because I can always come back and improve it. I'm just using what's underneath. If you really want to learn more about block coloring, it's really fun, is you should, it's so easy, it's nothing difficult about it. You can hit me up on the in the comment section and just put down your comments. You know, that's the whole idea. Is I want to see people do more with their creativity, and there's so much you can do in the digital world. See what I'm doing? I'm taking very small segments of the underlying image, transferring the same drawing to mine. And you're thinking, why did this red is not the same red we put down earlier? Color variation, color tones. Yeah, now we've gone deeper. We know the color tones are different. See? They're different. You see how it changes from one to the other. And fill it in. It's much better than paint by numbers, which I showed you earlier. Well, to me, it's more fun. And then I'm going to show you how this can look. You'll be surprised how it looks. Depending on the size of the brush, you can, and remember where you put your fingers is the color you're going to pick up from the underlying reference image. So keep that in mind, and it becomes automatic afterwards. There you are, see? So now we have created a sense of tones, and now we can do the next bit. Here you can see there's a blatant difference between the areas, and we're going to use the same method. Right, this is what I do. This is what artists will do when they're painting. This is how they use with their brushes, because they can see these tones, and I'm building up these tones like this, right? Picking each segment, and I know the tones vary within a small area, and then even here, going here, look, you see how we had the black, the continuous black. I'm now picking out the difference in black by doing this, and then I can continue to go along his head right? And if you keep going, you'll see that the you see how the red will change. Look, see that? And then you'll see, because the shadow is there, look how that color is changing. See that? The tones, this, you're not going to get a better appreciation of tones than this way. See how the red tones changed? I'm still sticking to the small region because I know where the gradient is happening. There, do you see how quickly that changed? One tone. You're carrying that tone to your drawing. That's all you're doing. So let's see what happens. There you are, we've created tones. Now there's a shade going down from his forehead to that smaller area, okay? And then we can start building this tone. See that little blocky area, right? We can carry on using the same method. Don't forget, you need to keep it on the reference image and just continue to use the color picker and dab, dab, dab like this. This is an excellent way of seeing how these tones change. And then remember, we can go over it again. We don't need blending tools or anything like that. This is much more fun way of, if you use blending tools to create that effect, then you're losing out on what tones are all about. And then your drawing will never look natural. So quickly your fingers can work much faster than any of the digital tools, I guarantee. I've done photorealistic drawings this way and also by freehand. The reason I can do it by freehand is because I have a good knowledge based on having practiced this way. Okay, so let's have a look. Now that is a lot better than before, right? You would agree, right? And you know that if we keep going, we're going to make a decent drawing. So I'm going to just keep going. I hope you're following along to me, because then you'll make if you make mistakes, you will know what kind of questions to ask me. Okay, I'm just sort of staying within that area that's defined by the reference image. This is what really hyperrealism is. You can go down to a tiny level if you wanted to, take it like 1% or even less than 1% of the brush and continue to work pixel by pixel that way. But where's the fun in that, is it? Okay. So this is an excellent way for you to appreciate. Now you can say, well, maybe that's not that color, yeah? So if you feel that's not the color, take it down a notch, the areas, and then just keep going. Just keep in mind that you are halfway onto the reference, just above the halfway mark. Right? That will give you kind of a shading effect. Can you see it? It's kind of a shading effect that's going on there. So now we've got that, and I can see that the corner of my eyes, that this needs improving. We'll definitely improve that, save that. So this is the bit where beginners fail to understand. They will do a drawing, spend 10 seconds doing a drawing. That's as far as I can go. I'm sorry, but if you're going to think like that, you're not doing injustice to the many other people who go well beyond that in learning the techniques and developing the art. You're dismissing that. If you want to dismiss your drawing up to the point where you draw for 10 minutes or so and you say you can't go beyond that, that's it. You should leave it at that because you're not freeing your mind to the possibilities of how to improve your techniques and the like this. This is a technique which you probably have never seen before, but you can see how valuable it can be to drawing. Okay, so we have that. Should we go a little bit lower in the brush size? Let's go to 2%. We're getting good at this. So the brush size at 2%. So we can be confident that if we're at that size, you can see how even changes with that little partial region, even that region, small region, how it changes. So if you stop zooming, you can press the zoom button and zoom even more. Then we can see what we're trying to replicate. Okay, let's see how far we've done. So we could have to improve this. Okay, we're using still dab areas. So I'm still using dab areas. Dabbing. So I can see what I'm drawing, yeah? So let's see, let's zoom out. It's getting better, isn't it? The little bits of area you can see here, we can improve on that. Okay. Okay. Oops, here, remember. So you get really quick at this. Yeah, so you could always go and compare. Just switching between the trace bar. So let's see what we'll look like. Okay, this is the actual drawing and it's coming out nicely, isn't it? I would think so. And now you can see, because you're at this stage, we can go to the next stage of, now you're beginning to see how the drawing is forming. Previously, when you start with a blank screen, you'll not know. The mistake most people make is they need to go from A to B using some magical process. Sorry, it doesn't work. The reason why artists are good is because they create that magical process through continuing to work on the art piece. Do you think, an artist, a painter, is going to create a painting in 1 minute? No. They continuously build on it. Oil painting, continuation of building up paints by paints until they get the right consistency of paints for the image that they're trying to draw. And this is what we're doing. Very similar thing, right? And it's the reason why one can make photorealistic drawings in digital, which I haven't seen anyone else do. And I've done photorealistic drawings with this method, freehand, you name it. I've done it in many different ways. So let's go here and see where we are going wrong. And use that tiny brush we've got. Continue jabbing, right? All right. So we're gonna got that bit. Okay, because it's the lighter, so you'll actually see it. See it when you zoom out, you'll see the difference. This is not drawing. This is just following. This is the best form of trace drawing that I can think of. And it will improve your skills in drawing tremendously. Trust me, it has for me as well. There you are. So now we can see that there are areas in his head that needs there. Can you see the tones that change? Now we're going to replicate that tones with that jabbing action, right? And work our way down. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, 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 tap. The little areas, we can increase the brush to 3%. Doesn't be here forever, do we? Whatever you're comfortable with. Right? And then as we work our way down that blending area, we are creating that blending at the same time, because each color changes. This finger painting is so much more fun. I mean, I could have used my stylus, and this is the Samsung phone that I have. I could use my stylus, but I'm finding that this is a lot more fun. Have you seen that region here? You can see that the underlying image. Notice I have it almost here. Look, this is my drawing. I'm sliding between my drawing. See that region there? It's now turning. That is actually turning to a different color at that area. and then you'll see the tones take on a different color. See how that changed just within that small marginal region? It's these areas that separates a good artist, appreciating these. Actually, when I first did the block coloring, I was in hospital and nothing serious, just a problem checking on my heart actually. And I'm over that now. But anyway, the point was it gave me room for thought and can be what can be done with drawing, and I started doing this color picker rapidly, and then I thought, wow, this is really a great way to. And then I did my first drawing of the Constable's Haywain, famous Constable landscape, the Haywain, and I was like surprised with the result. From someone who's looking at it will think that drawing was the original Constable Haywain. So let's see what we've come. Tell you what, this is the drawing where we've come a long way from from what we started earlier. Now you can see that each time you draw, something new pops up, and we're going to just continue fleshing out those, and then you're going to say, wow, this has really turned out nicely. So here we can see here my drawing, and then that we need to improve, yeah? So this is what helps you to get better in drawing. Don't assume that on your first pass you failed. If you do make that assumptions, you have failed. You will not continue. You will not continue, and you will dismiss the whole thing that it requires too much skills. Okay. Remember, do you see why the color changes even though we laid down this color before? Because the tones have changed in the smaller areas, and that's what gives the whole image depth, and that's what artists strive for throughout their drawing. All right, so we got that thing, but let's clean it up here. We want to make sure his head looks quite. Okay, and then we can see here, you probably think, oh God, there's no tones here. And you're probably right. So we can probably just fill it, because the eyes can't distinguish it. But if you look closely, I'm going to zoom in, and you're going to see there's slight variations in tones. There isn't actually, sorry about that. But I'm just trying to tell you that these tones are difficult to detect unless you get really close. Let's take, for example, this. Right there, you can see there's a distinct difference between the head and and the and the background. So we're gonna we're going to go here, select that black tone, and then we're going to just define that edge, and then we're going to go here and then just fill that color. We've already picked that color, and then this, because it's so dark, we're not too worried about making it look perfect. And then you can come here and see it. See, there is that dark head. His head just carries into that dark region. So where are we now? Yep, we're here, and we could probably finish this. It's entirely up to you, but you want to probably do what this drawing, add more to this detail of this drawing, especially this spider web. I mean, how can you not do these little nice little areas that make up who Spider-Man is, right? So let's save that. So let's zoom in nicely and see if we've got the right brush. We could probably go down a notch here, I think, to 1.8. And then, because you can see this band is darker gray, a lighter pink, and then a darker gray. So let's see if we can replicate this. Are we at the right size? I think we can go a little bit less. Are we at the right size? Yeah, I think we can do that. So we're here, and then we're going to pick that darker color, and then go here. Okay, we got that. Now pick that pink color. Okay. And then pick that darker. Okay. And then let's just carry on doing that. See if we can create those spectacles, yeah. We're not worried about the details of it. And then just continue. See if we manage to pull it off, right? Let's see if we manage to pull it off. I think so. Let's just carry on and see if we can just trying to blend that area. So we can probably can see here the reason why when we do the drawing we can continuously, the reason why artists can carry on and keep perfecting it is because you keep looking at it, you will see regions that become imperfect because you've perfected the other regions. Yeah, you perfected neighboring regions, and that's why you can pick out that's this color, deeper red, which we could see. And because we're addressing that bit, we can correct it as we go along. Yeah. I wouldn't assume, oh, I'm not understanding it. You don't have to understand in one go. If you do, then you're superhuman. You should give yourself patience, learn what's been shown, and give yourself a try. If you don't try, and you're always just speculating, I can't do it, it's lack of confidence, isn't it? Really. I mean, this is such a fun way of drawing. When I did post that Haywayne drawing that I did, many people have said, "Oh, I should draw like that," and I can guarantee many will say, "Oh, I'd love to draw like that," but they'll never get around to it. Yeah. Let me just pause for one. Hello, back. Sorry for if you're online live. Hopefully, you've caught up with me. Some of the drawing. If you haven't, don't don't push it aside and just get frustrated. That's the reason why many people want to do the drawing, because others derive so much pleasure out of drawing and they want to get on the same boat. But you're not going to get on the same boat if you don't allow yourself time, patience, and an open mind to learning. Okay? So if you let your limitations and your lack of patience come into it, it's going to deter you from learning. So let's see what it looks like from that point of view. It's more or less taking shape, and not right now you can see that I need to correct. Again, what I told you earlier, that the more you keep drawing, the more you're going to see flaws in where you need to improve the drawings. People who are young and draw, they don't know why they're able to draw like that. That's why you're not able to learn from them. And they because they just have the natural knack for it. And if you ask them, you're asking the wrong people. I mean, even artists are not completely knowledgeable in the every facet of painting and drawing, and it's down to their ability, isn't it? And it's down to what they've learned themselves, right? So they believe they have that knowledge, and it will be dependent on the students on how much that of that knowledge they can impart to their fellow students. But I'm self-taught because I really drive myself in many areas of skills. And I feel that anyone, if they have the desire to learn, they can learn. Alright, so we're just going in. See that difference in tone? That dark, and all of a sudden it just, see that? That's what tones are all about. And you can only get that knowledge if you really go into the depths of what. And that's the beauty of digital drawing, because I come from a technical background. I'm able to propel myself in learning. And the beauty is that there's so much to learn. You don't have time for everything you want to do. Alright, so that's what I'm doing here. You can see that is probably part of the stringy part of his mask, so we're just gonna try and replicate that to the best way possible. And then remember that the line that we did, that then we could probably get something close. Doesn't have to be exact. Oops. Okay, and then you can see where the improvements have come in, right? Okay, and then we're almost there. We can touch it up, but here on this, I can see right away that we used a bigger brush for this. So now we have the smaller brush. We can really tidy up these details. Right, not too much effort. Doesn't require any effort whatsoever. Just this block coloring. Personally, I think the block coloring is an excellent way of drawing without drawing, isn't it? Love to get your comments on after you've given yourself a chance at block coloring, and tell me what you think. Okay, so we're almost getting there, and I'm looking at the whole thing. Here we could correct this. This is what artists experiment with, because they're always looking the best way to render their artwork. Alright. So you can see there's a little black area that I haven't tackled. Just carry that down. Black area, yeah. Just carrying that round. Now that we have this smaller brush, we can really work on those details that we left out last time. All right, tidier, isn't it? I would say. So now there's a little bit of stringy stuff that we haven't put here. A little bit of that. Let's just put more of that string that he has going across his face. Yeah. Let's see. Yes, that's stretching across his face. And then a little bit of that. Okay. Doesn't have to be bold as such. So this is what you learn as you keep doing it. And let's try. We haven't done anything on this side. So let's correct that. Again, using the small jabs of your tiny brush to build up that area. You've seen that area. I'm not doing clean sweeping strokes. I'm just building it up. Just following the eyes. To give the illusion of depth, you know? Let's see if that works. It sort of looks like he's got like X-ray eyes or something. Okay. Actually, let's add a little bit of that. Okay, let's see what happens. Alright, it's just... You see the harshness of the line, and that's where density will come in, and I can show you later on how to achieve that, the density settings. But right now we're doing this very quickly, and we're going to try and make it best as we can with that. I think we need to do that. Yep. So now we've done that. Now where are we? Well, we're almost there. And I can see we need to tidy this area up since we have a smaller brush. Okay. So we can, since we're working on a larger area, we can just dab like we did before, fill that area and get that gradient, the blending that we're looking for on that area. Remember, we had a choppy blending area at the beginning, and now we're creating our own blending at a much lower, higher zoom setting. And it works. If it works, why not? I'm going to add the details on it so I can see more of my drawing. Okay. Just filling in the volume of space. Just fill it in. See how the tones vary, and that even at that small scale. Yeah. So now we have to just do this with a smaller brush. Okay. Just fill that in. Just carrying it in. Blended area. Picking out the tones will help me do that. Okay, let's see what it looks like from a distance. Better, isn't it? So you can still see that I'm trying to blend it. It's not perfect. And if you wanted to, you can keep blending it. There is other ways of blending it, which I have shown, explained in my previous finger painting, especially the clouds. Please check it out. All right, where are we? Let's have a look. You have to admit it's a lot better than before, isn't it? Look at that blended areas here. And do you want to do all that black? Why not? That's what Spider-Man's all about. Okay. Oops. But you haven't done, well, we have, but let's just fill that in. Yeah, why not? Then let's pick a bigger brush and then just blend it. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, it's reasonable. And now you can see this area. Let's cover this. Now we can go here. Oops. Okay. All right, let's see what it looks like. That's better, isn't it? And we can see right away some of this patches. We'll try and create that patch, you know? Why not? We can create that crisscross patch. No biggie. Then bring it close. You've seen how the areas pop up when you start doing it. When you start drawing. Okay, that's fine. And then here, do we have to do anything here? Okay, just a bit. The black. Oops. I think we're good. Go with these black areas, the hidden black areas here, and then there's black areas here. No, sorry, the white areas there. So we come to here, and now here's the blending bit. I'm going to show you a little bit, and it's a very interesting kind of blending. I mean, we're more or less done with the whole body and face. I mean, of course, you can feel free to refine it even more, like they showed you. But now let's blend this this region. You can see here. So if we go here, oops. It is this color, and what we're going to do is we're going to blend this, and the way we're going to blend it is this is where it gets really fun. 25%. See what I've done? Pick the color tone here, then just blend it. Can you see it? How it blends beautifully? And then here, see how it blends. Can you see? And take that, really be quick about it, and take it down even so you have more control. And then take that region, just and then take this darker area. See how it's blending all the way from the dark area. Only because that's where the beauty of this setting is. So in case you think a brush is a brush, you probably realize, wow, it's more than just a brush with the density settings. Right? So now we can increase that, get this color, just blend it, get that. Keep dabbing on it. And just play with that density setting. Yeah. There. See? Just play with it. Don't be afraid. That's setting, and then now you have control over that. And now can take it and clean up that edge. Oops. All right, and then we can do the same thing on the other side here. So if you remember, what I did was bring the density down, really way down. Pick out a brush size because it's a fairly small area. Pick the adjacent dark color, blend to your heart's content, and then pick that white color and just take it because we're trying to create that border, that sharp edge of the head. All right, let's see what it looks. Much better than before, right? So there it is. Block coloring. I hope you enjoyed this. Let's you can see there, you can always see, you can stick to your color, stick to your canvas, and just clean up the areas. No, no big deal. If you make a mistake, just pick the adjacent color. Don't use eraser, it's not, erasers are for real newbies. No idea what drawing is all about. In fact, you don't need erasers. Have you seen me use eraser? All right, I think I'm happy with that, isn't it? I think we made a fine little drawing here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to change that and increase that and put down Paintology. This is where I go bad because I don't have the stylus. I'm using my fingers. All right, and there it is, Paintology. And hope you had a great time doing this. Do you see how easy it was? Simple tools, that's all it matters. Don't go for tools to create those blending. It's much more fun doing it this way. That's the reason why a lot of people stay in the traditional medium, but they have no idea that digital medium offers you the same flexibility and capability if you draw like the way I'm showing you. So I hope you've learned a thing or two, and I'd love to see your drawings. And please comment and subscribe, and so I can bring you more of these live sessions, videos. You'll see plenty of videos that are already for you to work with. And if you download the app, you will see a much more of these tutorials that will help you get better in drawing, not drawing in the sense of being highly capable of using tools, but developing those core skills, of art, which is basically in the skills that in the traditional mediums, and you can apply it to the digital medium as well. Thank you again, and hope to see you again tomorrow, perhaps. Thank you.